All right, well, we may as well get started. I think Amna and Paul are supposed to be joining us on Zoom, so we'll keep an eye out, but we'll get started given that it's a couple after 4. And I think, except for those two, I think everyone's with us. So we'll start. Has everyone had a chance to look over the minutes, and are there any changes before I call for a motion to approve? Okay, I'll take a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Visitor comments. Yeah,
Real quick. I'm here just to plant a seed. I think some of you received an email from me. Those of you who I have email addresses for, but Jeff, I don't have your email out, and I know John and Sean and Paul and I'm got it. And I am here as, no sustainability expert, but I think I have expertise or at least interest in other areas. If any of you have been to Madison, Wisconsin, as an example, years ago, they embraced bicycling. And they are pretty much known as one of the key bicycling capitals of America. And if you go up there, like we painted some of our streets, not all, but some of our streets for bicycling. You go up there and they have embraced bicycling. I mean, and they have almost reconfigured the city to favor bicyclists. And there are more people that ride bikes up there than ever. So you come down back to Webster Groves, and when you ask Webster Groves people, describe Webster Groves, or what do you like about Webster Groves? Close to the top of that pyramid is Webster is a walkable community, right? They don't say Webster is a drivable community or even a bikeable community, but they will almost universally say a walkable community. And so the idea is simply, what if the respective boards and commissions got together with the public, with interested residents, and how could we make Webster Groves a true premier walkable community? Because I think there's a lot more we could be doing to promote walkability, to get more people out walking, to make it safer, et cetera, and to really be known as a walkable community outside of our city boundaries. And from a sustainability standpoint, again, in my novice knowledge, I think it's at the top of the pyramid of sustainable activities because anybody can do it. It's a mass thing to get out and walk. It's free. There's no fossil fuel emissions, no CO2 emissions. It's healthy, it's fitness. It's a win-win-win across the board if more people walk. And if people already view Webster Groves as being a walkable community, let's own it. Let's become the best walkable community we can. And I think we would change things all over the place. Like I'm going to go to the Traffic Advisory Commission, and I've been touting our sidewalks because I think our sidewalks are dangerous. If you've seen any of them,
I agree.
It's amazing that people haven't been hit. But it's like in a walkable community, those crosswalks would be very different and much safer. That's an example.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's my point.
Well, thanks for sharing those thoughts. I know being a walkable, bikeable city is sort of a pillar of our sustainability plan. So we're
A huge,
I think we're in agreement.
I agree too. And I do see a lot of people walking and cycling in the community. And I've been thinking about how to make it even more of that kind of community. And I wonder if it has to do with kind of the location of some businesses, because where I'm located, I would love to be able to walk to get a coffee or an ice cream or something, meet a friend. And the closest thing to me to do that is Maypop. And I do walk there sometimes, but other than that, I'm a mile exactly from Eden Seminary. And it's a little further down the street to the kind of, business district of Old Orchard. So if I want to commit 2 miles of walking to get an ice cream, I have been known to do that, but it's been rare. So I wonder if that's something that could be addressed for making it more feasible for people.
Yeah.
You know, in terms of like the location of residents in relation to the location of businesses where they might be walking.
Yeah, and for some, I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt you, but I was gonna say, for some of the newer members, the city had a walk, pedestrian bike master plan done, I think, Great Rivers Greenways, part of that back like this is 10 years ago. And it's still out there online. I think you could find it online. So, I mean, I think maybe at some point we revisit that. I think it's useful, but I think there could be more. It's not super actionable or specific in terms of recommendations. So,
Well, it also seems, Jeff, that there are different boards and commissions that are touching on walking
Yeah.
in different ways.
right.
And if we could just combine the minds together, make them up with a really cool plan.
Yeah.
There's also been, within the year, I want to say, I've noticed 2 different letters in the mailbag of Webster Kirkwood Times. Proposing or suggesting, having, like a sidewalk sale or an event in our business districts where we close down the streets to vehicular traffic. And that could really help, I think, foster, a culture and appreciation for anything other than vehicles, but at least it could be something to possibly consider with the BDC or some of the other organizations that are involved in some community events. And even if it's maybe just once or twice during the nice weather, the summer months or fall months, but that could also maybe plant a seed on just fostering a pedestrian culture.
Yeah, I think we saw it during COVID when everyone was on lockdown. I feel like I saw 3 times as many people out walking around.
Yeah.
And I think the hope was, I know there was talk at the time, like, is this gonna stick? Are people gonna continue? And then kind of we just went back to our old ways of driving everywhere. But yeah, no, that's thanks for bringing that to the top of our attention.
Well, it's an idea, but I hope it'll catch momentum.
Yeah.
And also, I was gonna save this for my update, and I still can, but we are about to release a survey. I've been working on it this week and last week, but a community-wide survey, and it's really for the Safe Streets for All, the federal grant that we have that I'm a part of. But it's getting the community's attitudes towards safety in general, but including pedestrian, cycling, driving, all things related to our roadway. So it will be live on Thanksgiving Day, likely the day before, but we'll be placing yard signs. You might see them out in the community for the Turkey Day run, Turkey Trot run. So I would encourage you to submit, to take the survey and put those comments in there as well.
But see, just one point, it's interesting. It's like we have a lot of runs, like the Turkey Day run,
Mhm.
but we don't have a walk. I mean, why can't there be a Turkey Day walk? I think you'd probably get more people out.
You get a lot
Close
of
the
walkers.
streets
You get a lot of walkers, even though they're running.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hear what you're saying.
So, anyway.
All right. Great. So I guess we'll just transition to Sean and let you give your update.
Sure. Well, okay, like I just mentioned, the first thing, so you probably know the other half of my time at the city is spent on Safe Streets for All. And so that is branded, you might see it as WG Safe Streets, but it's the same thing. It's the $2 million+ grant we received from the Department of Transportation to create a comprehensive safety action plan for the city of Webster Groves. And we're right now in the phase. Next year, we will be implementing some demonstration projects that involve implementing different kinds of technologies, such as variable speed limit signs, putting speed humps in different locations around the city. That's still a ways off. So we'll talk more about that when we get closer. But right now, we're really just trying to get as much feedback from the community on their that specific areas they find concerning. Why, you know, whether it's speed, whether it's distracted drivers, whether it's just congestion, maybe it's the lack of cycling lanes or a lack of sidewalks. It can be anything that comes to mind for general safety on our roadways and streets in Webster Grove. So you'll be seeing, the survey will be promoted basic next week starting, but it'll be live. Our rollout is Thanksgiving Day for that run. And then we'll place signs around that run, signs that have the QR code to take the survey. And then in December, the first weekend in December is the Old Orchard tree lighting and also the Santa's on the Loose run / walk. So we'll take those yard signs and then we'll reposition them for that community event. But you'll be seeing promotions to get the community's input. So I'll let you guys know as soon as it's live, but would appreciate you all taking that survey as well. And bringing your sustainability expertise or perspective to that survey as well. So
When does that survey go live?
Thanksgiving Day. Probably, hopefully the day before, but it's, yeah, timed for Thanksgiving. Okay, and then Green Dining Alliance, we have 2 new restaurants that have completed certification, Beignet All Day and Bijou Chocolates. I'm not sure if I mentioned that last time. I think it just happened since our last meeting. But those 2 are now certified in addition to Maypop that's got certified earlier this fall. And then we already had the 2 existing, Olive Oak and Big Sky. So I'm pleased to say that we only have 3 more businesses to go until Webster Groves gets its green dining district status. So that's very exciting. I think that, to be honest, we've had a few restaurant closures and that ended up helping it reduce the number, which is horrible. And we want new restaurants to come. So, but if you remember in the past, I think I mentioned that we have to have 10 or 11 to reach our 20% goal for district status, but that number was actually dropped. So anyway, we're just even, it's a little bit more in reach now. But that's great news about Beignet All Day and Bijou Chocolates. And I hope to get at least 1 more before the end of the year. So trying on that. And then I've got some information for the electronics or for the holiday light recycling, but we can wait for new business. So that's all from me.
All right, I don't see Councilmember Bush. She might have had to drop off. So why don't we just move on to old business and then we'll come back if she's able to join us again.
Oh, okay. She's on her way here.
Oh, okay.
Oh, there she is.
Oh,
Ah.
cue, right on cue, you're up.
Oh, really?
Exit stage right. Enter stage
That's
right.
fast. I have to talk to the agenda now. Or you guys just going super
You
fast.
timed that perfectly.
Huh. Okay. I need to find my notes in here. It may take a minute if you guys have anything else
That's
to talk
fine.
about.
I meant to follow up with John. This is not related to our meeting, but did you need Jason back on that Strava Metro?
Oh, I did. Thank
Okay,
you. But
I'll get
they-
that from you.
Okay.
I'm assuming they,
I clicked approve or, I
yeah,
submitted my email address and then I did receive an email back for them, but I think they said something like, oh no, there was a hold up or it hasn't,
okay.
I'm not sure. I'll need to
Okay.
check back and look at what they said, but.
Okay. Let's see. We haven't had a council meeting where we've updated people for over a month, so I'm kind of like looking back at my notes that were from our last Sustainability Commission meeting. But anyway, I attended the Greater St. Louis Inc. Regional Economic Outlook Breakfast about a month ago, and it's a very, it's an excellent event. It's basically comprised of local chambers And they talk about all the economic development, larger corporations, kind of the wins of the year. And the speaker was a man named Neil Bradley, and he's the head of the US Chamber of Commerce. So that was interesting to have him here in St. Louis talking about that. And they basically talked about how vital all levels of business are, and that local business is where the most give and take happens. So I just wanted to emphasize that, just to let you know, talk to your business owners and support them. And then another neat takeaway was the best way to increase your talent pool, so that would be here, is to find somebody that has maybe one more skill that no one else has. And then that way you've got an expansive team that you grow and adapt. Then the only other thing is the holiday festival in Old Orchard is December 7th. From 10 to 5. And the stores will have swag bags, Santa will be there. Santa will see dogs and children. They're gonna show the Polar Express at 3 o'clock, and then there will be a tree lighting at 5. And that's all in the triangle at the gazebo. And that's all I have.
I was gonna ask you, I know, because I watched the council meeting, I don't know when this was, on the climate resilience
Mhm.
fund issues. And then right on the heels of that, we had this
Yes.
massive rainfall and
Yeah.
flooding.
Yeah,
Do you guys have a sense yet of how many properties were damaged and?
we have not had a council meeting since then, or actually it was election night, so we had
Right,
an
oh.
abbreviated meeting.
Right.
So I don't know anything about the number of properties, or whether they were repeat properties or anything. I did go over there and visit, and it was quite a thing. I went to Forest and Pacific
Yeah.
and saw those homes there. I know the first 3 from the park were flooded on Pacific, and Little High more on Forest. So I don't know if you've watched the meeting, you said.
Yeah,
There's a lot of questions and a lot of back and forth
Right.
on the whole thing, so it'll be interesting to see where we land with that.
right.
Would it be helpful if the commission here provided any suggestions or recommendations on?
That would be a great idea. We had talked about, things as simple as setting up centers for heat, to provide relief from heat or electrical outages and things. And having a program in place with resources ready to go. For example, Renee called and worked with Waste Management and had a program where at least there were 2 dumpsters set up in South Webster and at this side of town for people to put their dumpsters in, and was gonna working specifically for individuals who can work with Waste Management for a discount to get one. So there's things like that.
Yeah.
There's like short-term relief, and then there's large, so there's the whole scale. So I think it,
Well, wasn't there a little bit of apprehension among certain council members about how, how the funds would be spent, and perhaps some council members might be adverse to saving the funds for buyouts, but possibly for heating or cooling centers or. So
Right.
so if you need backup or support on how to.
I'm wondering what the best way, I don't think we have a date on there. Maybe I should find out if we've got a date to resume the conversation. I'm not caught up on what we're talking about tomorrow, so, I think it would be good for them to have kind of just your perspective on it. The funds that we have are ARPA funds. They are not from anywhere else.
Right.
So that was part of that $500,000 we set aside about 3 years ago. And we've used that to put some of that to good use, and there's 350,000 left. So, yeah, that would be helpful.
And I forget where things were. I think you updated us last meeting or 2 on the stormwater management.
That's part of the discussion. Yeah, they are, we did hear that and they went through priorities. And I think they're gonna come back with more recommendations. It was more of a big overview.
Yeah.
On things. And I think that's part of the discussion. Do we? I mean, those projects, some of those projects are millions of dollars.
Right, right.
So what we, yeah.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
think a good perspective for the council to hear would be how you balance out individual, helping individuals
Right.
versus helping the city, improving the infrastructure.
Right, because the takeaway from watching what I did was that my sense is that the council wants to make sure that whatever you establish, you don't want to put the bar so low so that you have an
Right.
event and all of a sudden you promised everybody and then you're really kind of in bind. So you've gotta, and this kind of goes back to, I think, the flood from a couple of years ago.
Mhm.
But I was kind of curious, does the city know how many properties are in flood zone or at risk of potential flooding?
They've never talked, that no one has ever outlined that.
Yeah,
That first flood event, or the one 2 years ago, there were 12 homes. And 6 were substantially damaged or repeat. So those are the ones we
Right.
pushed to FEMA. So I think part of it is about the buyout or any other major relief like that is, it would be a FEMA, they go through the FEMA process to
Right.
help set the bar on those sorts of projects.
yeah, because that, you always think, well, this neighborhood or that neighborhood has never flooded before, then you look at what happens in, North Carolina, that hurricane, that
Right.
storm just dumping water and, and then you look at what's happened here, things that have never happened before, or,
The front page of the Post today, I don't know if it gets that, was about Brentwood.
yeah.
I've not had a chance to read it, but I did see it there, and you're always wondering how that affects things.
Right.
So,
About the New Brentwood, park thing or?
Yeah, well, some of the flooding mitigation that they did with that, with part of putting that park in was flood mitigation and how it survived this last heavy rainfall.
Yeah, I was wondering about that because that's upstream from Deer Creek from where all the flooding was in Webster.
Right.
yes.
So if it was doing its job,
Right, did it put?
why are all the houses downstream getting flooded? Like,
Yeah,
Maybe they would have been flooded worse.
right, possibly.
That's what the article suggested, that it helped. It wasn't designed
Yeah.
to prevent it.
Right.
You would need a much bigger scale, but.
Yeah.
That's what the article said.
Right, well,
it also seems to me that part of the issue is the amount of rain is accelerating faster than we're not catching up, we're falling further behind because the amount of the rain events are so much more. Like I've lived here almost 25 years by the Deer Creek Park. And it is flooding now in a way it never would flood. And now, and it's just a whole different level of, and I'm not sure how much of it is, I'm not an engineer, how much of it is rain versus hard pavement further, all the damn subdivisions in Chesterfield that are sending the water down our way, or what? I don't know how much comes from which source, but it is just a different game.
right,
And even in 2022, there were 10 inches of rain over 3 days. And this past rain was 7 inches, but some officials are saying that the flood damage was worse. Almost worse in some areas in this event versus 2022.
yeah. All right, another big topic. So moving on, old business, the pumpkin smash. Do we have any idea of how much we ultimately collected?
I forgot to take a picture. I
Yeah.
went back the day that they were gonna be picking it up. And it looked like double what it was when we left on
Oh,
Saturday.
good. I'm glad you went by. I didn't know if you did, and I was out with sick kids that day, so I didn't get to take a picture of it either. But you went back on Friday?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I wanted to look for some contamination, just to make sure all of it was accepted. There were some golf tees somebody had plugged into their pumpkin, but I figured that's wood, should be okay. Yeah,
Okay.
Mary, you were tallying.
I sent an email to everybody. I didn't,
Oh,
I didn't.
Yeah, I saw the
I-
email. It was in a thread. You had how many cars came through? I wanna say.
Number of pumpkins, number of cars.
Yeah.
Fun.
I was just
Okay.
thinking, I hope that
22
dumpster.
cars, 70 pumpkins smashed the day of.
Okay.
I will say the day of, the dumpster looked less than it did after last year's event. But this year, we had said when announcing the event, the dumpster would be there for a
Right.
week, so you could, you didn't have to come within that 2-hour, 3-hour time frame.
Right, and it was also sooner after Halloween, so people may have wanted to hold on to something
Right.
until later.
So you either have like a less successful event, but can still, but could potentially collect more pumpkins, or a more successful event,
Right.
just having it one day. I haven't received any feedback from residents last year. We heard that they would like it to be longer, and so that's why it was longer this year. And at least I haven't received any other comments or requests about it.
I know, the time I was there anyway, people that come by are really appreciative and love bringing their kids and letting them destroy the pumpkin and throw the pieces in, so. And I think it's good for cross marketing to get bags away and.
Yeah.
People know about us.
I think one of the groups of folks I was with when we were staffing it was saying maybe having some like yard signs like permanent yard signs for Saturday after Halloween that we just put even just putting them out in front of the city hall.
Yeah, it might not be a bad,
That would probably increase participation more than
yeah,
maybe.
that's a
other
good
things.
idea, trying to market this. Cause some people don't see the WK Times or don't look at social Instagram, and just a new way to get the word out, and we could reuse those every year.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
What happened with the election sign? How did that work? That collection?
That went fine. We had a collection bin at Southwest Park and at the service center. And the one at the service center was full. Southwest Park was half full, maybe. But other municipalities only had one collection site and we had 2. So it was successful. I drove all of the signage out to Republic's site in Hazelwood on Friday, and I saw Olivet. We had more than Olivet had, so.
Yeah, they're bigger.
Maybe we're just more political, I don't know.
Well, what, the signs on top actually of ours were a lot of old Christmas, like, like Santa's helpers or.
Oh, yeah.
So people took advantage of the opportunity and recycled even non-political yard signs, but
Yeah.
so that's fun.
All right, next item is the GHG reduction subcommittee. It may just be Karen and I chatting on the phone. I don't know. If anyone's interested though, you're welcome to join us. I want to get this get something rolling soon so we can talk about how to act on the survey and see if we can't make a further dent in that. Yeah, John.
Glad to join that committee if you're looking for more members.
Yeah, I just want to make sure, we're represented and have a discussion.
Yeah, as well. So we need to have too much to too many cooks in the kitchens.
Yeah, no.
Also, I think, sorry, this is a quick sidebar, but we have 4 applicants for this,
Ah.
for our vacancy on this commission. And I think it might be on council's agenda tomorrow to interview them, but I'm not certain if that's been changed. But
Okay.
I know we had 4
Wow.
different people apply to join the commission, so hopefully
That's
council is able to approve them. If not tomorrow night.
Great.
Yeah, I was
In
just
the
looking
summer.
to see what the agenda is.
Will the council pick one or is the council picking? Okay.
Just with one.
But I'm guessing it's good to have names.
Yeah, and then sometimes we balance it out with green space too.
Okay, next item is the recycling tour. John, do you just want to go over the details on that for everybody
Okay.
once more?
So, details is the place is in Hazelwood, and it's gonna be Republic, because even though Waste Management picks up our trash, then Waste Management contracts with Republic to do the sorting of the single stream. And I guess they do it for all sorts of different trash pickup operations and the event is 1:30 p.m. on Thursday, December 5th. So logistical point is there's 5 parking spaces at this place. So we've got to be good environmentalists and not all drive separate internal combustion engine cars to the event. That said, it's a 25-minute drive from here to there to give people a sense. And I know a daytime event might be hard for people with day jobs, but I guess that's when they're doing their stuff. At this point, I've got, in terms of who I've heard from, I've got Mary and Amna unable to attend. I've got Matt coming directly from his place of work, which is in that part of the world. Then I've got Karen, Jeff, Anna, Paul, and myself. And then I wasn't sure, Pam, what your availability was and whether you thought, at 12 is the maximum number of people we can bring, but we are, with 6 yeses, we're safe there. So I guess A, do you know whether you can attend, and B, should we try and?
Guests that day, so I don't. I was like, well, don't you want to come? I think I better pass.
Okay,
I would like to go, but yeah, thank you for asking.
and is there anybody else on the
I
council?
can make an announcement tomorrow if you want to say, we have 6 places or however many spaces. I'm sure there are at least a couple that would like to join you.
I told you that I would come if there was space as well.
Brilliant. Okay, I didn't write it down, so it's totally out of my brain. Okay, great. Okay, that puts us up to 7.
I'm pretty sure I'm not gonna be able to make it, but I will know by the end of this week.
And can you tell me the details again? December 5th
Yeah, it's Thursday, December 5th,
at 1:30.
1:30 p.m. It's in Hazelwood.
And what's the purpose? Just the general
Purpose is
synopsis?
to look at how single stream recycling actually works. With the notion that if you do a Google search, what you'll see is a bunch of articles popping up saying people don't believe it's really recycled.
Right.
People think all the single stream just gets dumped in the landfill somewhere and it's all feel good stuff. And I hope that's not true. That's one thing we'll find out.
So the truth about recycling is what they'll learn. Maybe.
Yeah, it's like what works, as well as I want to ask them, do they get data by municipality? Do they track that? So could we say, if we identify common errors that are being made by people in Webster Groves, can we get feedback that says, oh, we've improved by 10% over this time period or whatever? So it seems to me that it's, and I talked to Kevin Murphy today at the Webster Kirkland Times saying, Kevin, your readership would love this story. You got to send a report. And he didn't say yay or nay yet, but he thought it was an interesting story. Because I think at the end of the day, we're
Mhm.
kind of the audience, but the real audience is the other 5,000 people out there, whatever, that have those bins.
One question, since you just suggested a question that you plan to ask. One question that I'd be curious in, since I'm not gonna be able to attend, is I spoke with the guy who works at a company that is a purchaser of recycled glass. And he was expressing how the Ripple glass, which would, I know that's also an option in Webster Grows. It's a far superior glass that actually candidly, the glass they get out of single stream, they can't use. So to ask about that Webster has these two options and how might we think about the options? Might be a question to ask them or not. Maybe it's not appropriate.
No, it's it was on my list, because I've heard the very same thing that putting glass in single stream is not very effective. But let me write that
I can
again.
email that to you also, John. That's better.
It's an opportunity for us to provide some public education there. If we can get the information out, I mean, it's already in place, Ripple Glass is there.
Right.
Yeah.
All we have to do is tell people to use it.
Maybe we could talk it up, not necessarily talk down the
Yeah.
effectiveness of single stream, but talk up how it's a better product. It's recycled closer to town, lower carbon. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, there is so much, so much of this is public education, which, we 5 years ago did the magnets that I still have on my refrigerator from waste management saying, here's what can go in, can't go in, or, and on that topic, had to fly out of town last week, and I was in the airport in Phoenix, and they had a sign up I thought was interesting. And I was sitting there in the airport, like taking a picture of the recycling and garbage container. People thought I was nuts, but it said recycling right saves money, but if you put trash in recycling bins, it's really expensive for the companies. It said it, I don't know where this figure comes from, but it says 1 in 4 items in a recycling bin is not recyclable, wasting an estimated $610 million annually in the US. So, and I know when we had the waste management guy years ago here, the biggest culprit was plastic grocery bags. People think plastic, I'll just throw it in recycling, and they get caught up in the machinery. I'll be interested to hear from Republic if that's their biggest sort of nemesis. But yeah, sounds interesting. Thanks for organizing me.
Thank you.
Sure. Oh, and the other thing I'm gonna ask is, do they really make money off aluminum? Or not? Because I've taken to doing my aluminum recycling in a place that's only taking aluminum, figuring it, like it'd be recycled. But I also heard somewhere that that's kind of a revenue generator for them, because they lose money on a lot of the other stuff they're recycling, but aluminum, they can make money. So that's a thing.
Right.
Question.
What's the call to action? How do people, if they wanna go to this, what should they do?
Email me or call me is probably the simplest, and I could just keep that
Okay.
account.
Can I just say email John Hickey?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think I'm hoping that some of the people on the council will go, because they're people that a lot of people in the community are gonna ask, when they're gonna think about who would know, oh, my council person.
Mhm.
And like I say, I think if we do find out that they actually track performance by municipality or by customer, then I think it could be interesting to see, could we do a community challenge? Like, can we cut by 20% how many plastic bags we put in? This is the time period, and we're gonna get data back on this day. We kind of gamify it.
Right. Yeah.
St. Louis County has reached out to me offering to do an oops tag audit, like an oops audit for Webster Groves, which is basically where they have a team of individuals that will canvass a certain neighborhood on trash day and look inside people's bins to just get a quick high level contamination
Right.
look and to see. And then if they are noticing a lot of contamination, they'll put like a tag that says, oops, there's, a lot of contamination in here. Contamination is is ineffective or, hurts recycling efforts, so. They've done this for certain neighborhoods in North County. I think they're trying to just expand the program and they're looking for other municipalities. So in the past, when they brought it to my attention, there was some dissatisfaction. I think it might have been a change on like bulk pickup or something. And I was like, now's probably not the right time for Webster Groves. But we can circle back in the future. So if that's something you guys, if that's something you're interested in, I can get more information and then bring it back to you.
Yeah,
That'd be brilliant, because it would give us a way to get data. If they're doing it in multiple municipalities, then we can get data to say, okay, we're, in front of the pack on this, we're behind the, the standard on that. We can get actual data.
Okay.
Some people freak out, but people freak out about anything.
Right.
Sorry,
On that-
is there any cost associated with that, or they were offering to do it for free?
They were offering to do it for free. Normally there would be a cost, but they were, and I don't remember all the details, and I don't know if the offer would still stand as it was. When it was brought to my attention last spring, we didn't have a director of public works. It was just not a great time back then. So, but I'll look into it and see.
And just to wrap this up, I know
Yeah.
it took a long time. Let's say for people who are going via carpool on that day, that we meet, it's a 1:30 gig. We'd be here by 1 o'clock sharp. It's a 25-minute drive. Then we can assemble into vehicles so that we don't overmatch the 5 slots.
And did they say
And
how
there will
long
be
this
some
would
slots,
take?
like for Matt, who's going there directly, or people have to go there directly, that we.
Yeah, did they say how long it would take, that the tour will last?
I should know that, but I'm thinking it's like an hour, but I don't know whether I was told that or I just made that up.
Okay. All right, next, I didn't know if there was anything, Matt, on the historic preservation. I saw their meeting, but schedule or agenda didn't have any listed, so.
Yeah, I sent them a summary of the last time we discussed this, which I think was 2 meetings ago, and I heard nothing back.
Okay,
And I forgot about it until I saw it on the agenda
Yeah.
today, so I might just poke one more time and make sure there's nothing, see if there's still interest there, if they want to bring any help from us, otherwise I guess that would be close. I'll follow this, have a follow-up for the committee, like.
all right. New business holiday light recycling.
I talked to East Spectrum. They are on board to do it again for us this year. There's no cost to us. We had 2 locations last year, City Hall and the rec center. So we can do that again. The only thing is with the rec center being under construction, I just need to confirm with them that they don't have any concerns or, find out what the exact place for that. I'm sure somewhere over there it would work. But I should double check with them first. So it's really
Follow-up question,
Yeah.
which location got the biggest volume?
last year. Probably, I don't know for sure. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think last year at the Recplex, we had a Gaylord on a pallet. And at City Hall, it was like the 96-gallon roll carts, like a trash can at home that's on wheels because it's easier. We can't like bring in a forklift into the side door of City Hall. So we use the roll carts. And I want to say we just had 1 roll cart here last year, but the Gaylord at the Recplex would have had more, but
Wait, this is the electronic recycling?
no, this is for the holiday lights recycling.
Now I'm tracking out, that's why I was looking so confused. Okay, sorry.
Yes, the holiday lights, string lights. So this is basically for any wiring. What's recyclable is the wiring. So it can be extension cords, it can be string lights, just no garland. So it can't be lighted garland. They can't, garland is a tangler. It'll mess up their situation. But, string lights is what we've advertised, and typically it's been out for a good chunk, like early December through, mid-January. So when people are putting up their lights, unpacking their Christmas decorations box and noticing, oh, this strand isn't working, we catch it early and then on the back end. So are you guys okay if I shoot for December 2nd, having the collection available December 2nd through January 13th?
Yeah.
Wait,
absolutely.
December 2nd?
Mhm.
Wait, way before Christmas?
Yeah.
People are
People
already
should
putting
that.
up their Christmas trees.
Yeah.
I feel like,
Oh, is this for people who like start doing it and they realize, oh shit, this guy
Exactly.
has died since last Christmas?
And
Right.
they wanna pitch it that instant and we're like, no, save it.
Okay, I was thinking like, wait, I know when Christmas is.
I'm typically not one of those people that decorates right after Thanksgiving, but we're like a week before Christmas. But I think a lot of people are over Thanksgiving weekend, they're getting their Christmas boxes out. So yeah, it's to catch them on the front end when they're realizing those string lights aren't broken.
That makes sense. Okay.
January, what was the date?
13th is what it looks like, but January 13th. So let's say Friday, January 10th. And then I would have Spectrum come out the week of the 13th to pick it up. But that gives people, one full week in January after January 1st, 2nd, 3rd, after that week. So it still gives them one more full week. So, yeah. Monday, December 2nd through Friday, January 10th. Is what I will request. I'm sure it won't be a problem. They said they're very flexible, so I'll confirm with you guys that that's what's happening, but I will work to get that nailed down this week.
Excuse me, where are these bins actually during that period of time?
The Recplex
Recplex?
and here at City Hall on the ground floor by the side entrance.
All right. Related to, since you mentioned the rec center, I meant to ask, do we know anything about the Prop W, kind of where are we in that whole process? In terms of identifying specific projects to fund?
We know some of the first things, like the hockey is gonna happen. I don't know if you know, the indoor pool is put off indefinitely, or,
I knew that was the big.
yeah. That's not gonna happen. And then the others are just phased in.
Okay, so it's not like we're gonna approve all these things, it's just sort of one at a time as,
Mm-hmm,
okay.
mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Do we know anything about the state of potentially putting solar on the rec center as far where that is?
We do not.
Okay.
I don't know if Sean was here when we were talking about that. Dr. Peoples, you might want to circle back with her, because I know I talked to some people about it.
Yeah, okay.
So I think, yeah, go ahead. I think that was before Sean, though.
It seems to me with big old flat roof and
Yeah.
no leaf cover, it would be a great location.
There was a vendor you had talked about,
Yeah,
so I would circle back.
yeah, okay.
Hey Jeff, the other thing real quick is that on the city website, there is a Prop W project timeline.
Oh, yeah,
Where
okay.
they're all listed.
Destination
and-
WG.
and-
Yeah.
And when they start and stop.
Thanks, Dave.
Yeah.
Communications guy comes through again.
All right, our next meeting is set for December 16th. I will be out of town, potentially able to zoom in, but somebody else may need to, John, you may need to run it.
Battlefield promotion.
Anything else?
I did hear a quick blurb, but that's what I would tell you on NPR this morning. They talked about how we are reaching the peak carbon emissions,
Yes.
except the US maybe a year or two behind that, but I thought that was interesting.
Peak,
As
like,
long
and
as
then
we
start going
continue-
down.
Yes,
How do they know that we'll start going down?
you're just saying that the renewable energy is
Are you talking about global emissions or US?
global emissions
Okay.
are, they think are gonna peak this year. And then, but the US is behind a little bit.
I wonder if there's a population
And
estimate
it could,
too,
Population is.
because we're,
yeah,
Cause yeah, I was reading,
I mean, it's not gonna automatically happen, but they're saying we are on the way to doing that. So,
I was seeing a story about how, you know, the scientific consensus has been limit global temperature increase to 1.5 C. That's been sort of the scientific consensus for a long time. And it's been known that, you know, we're gonna blow past that. And there's
Yeah.
absolutely zero chance of stopping it. And now there's debate about what should the next goal be, because if you
Move the
should it be
goalpost.
one, right, well, exactly, do you make it 1.6, 1.7? And trying to balance, well, if some people think, you know, that's a foregone conclusion, we're gonna blow past that too, so you make it 3 degrees Celsius, you set or do you if you set it too far, do people kind of blow off? You know, it's just a very interesting calculation of, like, in terms of messaging to the public, you know, where's the next threshold? And if you set it too far in advance or too high, people kind of blow off. Climate change is a concern, versus if you set it and you keep moving the goalpost, so to speak, then people sort of blow it off for other reasons. You know, it's just messaging. Interesting, because, you know, with COP going on right now in Azerbaijan, all the big global.
Well, just don't, you know, we're gonna drill a baby drill. You know?
Not going there. But all right, well, do I hear a
oh,
yes, Mary?
one small thing. So we're no longer recycling red bags at the rec center. Do we want to keep that because we may someday want to recycle something, or do you want me to get rid of that?
We should keep that.
Save it for next
I
year.
was trying to make it be small and tidy.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'll take it. Thanks.
Because it's clearly labeled for recycled bags and
Right.
maybe at an event or something would come in handy.
Yeah.
I have one more thing. too.
Yes,
This is
Karen.
not a motion to adjourn.
Okay.
Back to the greenhouse gas subcommittee. Sean, when will we be ready? Will you or the city be ready for this subcommittee to start getting involved?
I think now.
Okay.
I mean, I can't say that, you know, there's time on, you know, we can get a meeting with leadership on to, you know, but I don't see any reason to wait on the Sustainability Commission forming a subcommittee to go through or to review or make suggestions for reduction strategies. I think it would be fine to go ahead and start that process and then we can talk about when to deliver those recommendations or.
And do you feel as if we need to meet with you? Do you have information that we don't have yet, or is it?
Yeah, I do have, I have a list of recommendations that came from Dr. Locke. So they're rough, it's a broad list, that's not their expertise. Their expertise is calculating the numbers and they're also on the Illinois side, so in terms of incentive programs that are here for, you know, in Missouri, it's a different climate for them in Illinois. So it's not their expertise, but they gave us a list of places to start looking at, so I'd be happy to share those.
That's great.
Yeah.
And set up a meeting?
Yeah.
When are you available to meet, John, Jeff? and
Yeah.
Sean? What works for, I'm probably really the most flexible. Is my guess.
Not this week, but And next week is Thanksgiving, but
Yeah.
you know, we could schedule a call for next week, or we can hold off till December, but.
What do you guys want to
I'm
do?
fine either way. I mean, I'd like to, even if it's something quick, get it on the board and start figuring out how we wanna go forward.
Well, why don't we do something next week then?
Okay,
The week of the 27th.
How about Tuesday, the 26th?
In the afternoon,
Sure,
2 o'clock?
sounds great.
shoot for that, yeah.
I've got something really quick, Jeff, before we adjourn.
Yeah, sure.
It sounds early, but can we, for the next meeting agenda, talk about any plans that we want to do for Earth Week or Earth Day or Earth Month? Because that always comes up real quick.
Right, right. Yeah, that's a good idea.
When is Earth Day?
April.
April
April
22nd.
22nd.
Yeah.
Maybe they can go in for new business next time.
All right, with that, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I move. Second?
All in favor?
I'm
All right.
Aye.
See everybody next month.
Councilman, this week, before you go, I wanted to just make sure I have my facts straight
Should we,
on,
no, we should.
when you were talking about the last flood
Kind
that
of
we
Zoom
had,
for.
you talked about.
Yeah, thanks.